common assault because you touched a white man. Let them decide what they want to do. We are still going to touch a lot of white men because it was a crime during apartheid to touch a white man. It's still a crime today to touch a white man. We are going to touch them. We are going to kiss them. Whether they like or they don't like, we are kissing them. If they don't want, the ship is ready by the harbor. They don't want to be touched, let them go into the ship. They don't want to be kissed, let them go into the ship. Because they came here in our land, and therefore they will never tell us how they must be treated. They are visitors, and we decide how we treat visitors in our own house. This is our house, this is our land, and there's nothing wrong with that.
He must leave us alone, Kauri. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here, and we will find solutions for our problems. So stay out of our issues, and we will not get involved in your issues in America.
And there is nothing he can do to undermine our independence. The EFF reiterates its position that we must build state capacity, build a strong agricultural and industrial nation which will not depend on the West, and intensify trade relations with progressive nations such as China, Russia, and nations within BRICS who do not use foreign policy as an instrument to impose their will or bully other nations into submission.
We're going to have a Columbia moment pretty soon. Now, I know that Donald Trump and Cyril Ramaphosa had a phone call before Davos. Donald Trump didn't even greet him, didn't pay him any respect, and basically the message was to Cyril Ramaphosa, your time is coming, pal, you and the ANC. America will wait until an ambassador is in place and the Under-Secretary of State for Africa has been appointed. And watch those appointments, because the focus of those two people on behalf of Donald Trump and his organization, his MAGA, his cabinet, his government, are going to turn their spotlight onto the ANC and onto South Africa. And there are words, big trouble ahead for Cyril and his merry men in the next few months. It's going to happen. What exactly that means, we're yet to find out. But Cyril is running scared. And I know that because we've heard it from Gwede, Fikile, and all the people around him. Cyril basically came off that phone call with Donald Trump scared as hell. And that's a good thing.
Well, you said that you were going to cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid across other African nations, and why South Africa?
No, it's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
Meant by Donald Trump is offensive and undermines our sovereignty, and is a reminder that our reliance on foreign aid and foreign direct investment surrenders us to the will of imperialists who use money to dictate the economic and policy direction of Africa. We want to make it categorically clear to the President of the USA that we are going to expropriate land without compensation.
We are witnessing the rise of nationalism, protectionism, the pursuit of narrow interests, and the decline of common cause. This is the world that we, as South Africa, a developing economy must now navigate. But we are not daunted to navigate our path through this world that constantly changes. We will not be deterred. We are, as South Africans, a resilient people, and we will not be bullied. We will stand together as a united nation, and we will speak with one voice in defense of our national interests, our sovereignty, and our constitutional democracy. By standing true to our values, by harnessing our unique strengths and endowments, and by forging a common purpose, we can turn these trying circumstances to our advantage and propel our country forward.
Security Council of
Oopsie. That was quick.
Sorry.
Apartheid. You've had 30 years to cry about it while the country burns. Our South Africa is one of the wealthiest, most resource-rich nations in the world. We sit on gold, platinum, and diamonds. We should be the Switzerland of Africa. And yet, here we are, a bankrupt, crime-infested, socialist experiment gone horribly wrong. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because Argentina was in the same boat. A once great economy, obliterated by government incompetence, rampant corruption, and that irresistible siren song of socialism. Redistribute wealth, hand out freebies, punish the productive, and celebrate the lazy. And just like Argentina, South Africa has spent decades getting it all wrong. 3 decades primarily. We've built nothing, fixed nothing, and now the lights barely work. And here's the kicker. Just like Argentina's new president, Javier Milei, pointed out to the world, we did this to ourselves. Now in Argentina, Milei came in a mere year and a bit ago and wiped out the deficit. Inflation is dropping. They're clawing back their economy from the abyss. And here in South Africa, we're still listening to Marxist relics in government who couldn't run a spaza shop, let alone an economy, let alone a country. We have the ANC, a bunch of corrupt, thieving, economy-destroying imbeciles whose only qualification is their ability to say apartheid in every speech. They've turned the country into a buffet of incompetence. Load shedding, crime, unemployment. Don't worry. The ANC answer to everything is more government. And the worst part, they sell it to you under the warm, fuzzy blanket of transformation, social justice, and equity. Sound familiar? It's the same nonsense Milei ripped apart at Davos when he called out the West's obsession with wokeism. The cancer that destroyed Argentina and is eating away at the West is the same disease killing South Africa. It's called woke socialism, and it comes in many forms.